being aligned with Waverley is always a good thing. We have such a good story and make such a social impact there. So if you can achieve that while at the same time achieving your business needs, it just makes sense.
Welcome to another episode of the Unicorns Podcast. I'm your host, Justin Kelly. On today's show, we're talking to Nick Williamson, the CEO of Waverley Social Enterprises. This isn't your typical feel-good charity story. Waverley has been quietly rewriting the rules of business since 1984. Waverley processes over 300,000 commercial jobs a year with 99% accuracy. It operates at industry-leading speed and competes head-to-head with mainstream providers across packaging, assembly, catering, grounds maintenance, and on-site labour. At the heart of it all, nearly 400 supported employees, the so-called workmates of Waverley, who've built a reputation for delivering when it counts, including a legendary 72-hour turnaround on COVID care packages when everyone else was maxed out. Today, we're diving into how Waverley balances commercial excellence with social impact, what major corporates actually want when they partner with a social enterprise, and why some of Australia's leading brands have been coming back to Waverley for nearly a decade. Nick, welcome to the program.
Thank you very much for having me.
So when people hear the words social enterprise, they might think, well, nice charity project. So what do you want them to know about what Waverley actually is?
Yeah, well, when we sell Waverley and talk to commercial clients, we don't necessarily defer to that social aspect. We pitch ourselves as a fully fledged commercial business with a focus on quality and turnaround time. The social aspect comes, and it's inevitable in what we're doing, but it's not actually where we position ourselves out there in the market. Like you say, if we position ourselves on a commercial basis, we get viewed a particular way. It's just a necessity of life. When we pitch ourselves, we position ourselves exactly as we are, a really proficient and efficient business.
So let's touch on the scale of the operation. Over 300,000 commercial jobs per year. I think the accuracy is hovering around 99%. So you're exceeding industry standards on all the main metrics. Walk us through how you've built this level of operational excellence.
Yeah, a bit of the credit for this one has to go to the founders of Waverley. We've been in operation for 40 years, building up to exactly where we are. So the model that we operate today has been working really well over the last couple of years to evolve into where the industry really needs us to be. We've got a significant focus internally on upskilling and on quality, and we do that quite simply right the way through the organisation at different levels with a real strong adherence to process.
What does that quality control process actually look like on the ground?
Yeah, well, it's in line with 9001 ISO certification. So we've got a strong quality control and quality management framework. On the ground, we've got various control mechanisms, including little things like batch operations, quality controllers, and random audit. However, one thing that makes us particularly unique is the adherence to exactness that all of our people on the lines support. So every one of our factory workers support us in doing that.
So the business calls itself commercially minded. You've emphasized that. So how do you balance the commercial backbone of the business with your broader social mission? Or is there actually any tension there between the two?
Yeah, there's deliberate tension there, actually. We pride ourselves on that balance and it keeps us in check. Having commercial benchmarks enables us to run our business, which is obviously essential to keep it ongoing. However, keeping that in check is that social mission that we do actually have. It understands the limits of what we can actually do internally and also what we want to do. Putting reasonable expectations through our groups, where our time and resources need to be spent and the like. Essentially, every dollar of profit we earn gets reinvested back into the business, into the upskilling of our workers and to better our environment.
I'm keen to know more, Nick, about the workmates of Waverley. These are the 400 plus supported employees at the heart of your operation. So what does a day in the life for these employees look like? And what does supported employment actually mean at Waverley?
We run 5 businesses, and each one of our businesses is run with the purpose of putting people with intellectual disability into work. So a day in the life of one of our workmates of Waverley really revolves around where they're working for that day, and they do shuffle between those 5 different businesses. It might be starting in packaging and ending in assembly, or we might have a run where we need support in catering or grounds management, or a couple of our team members might go from assembly or packing out to what we're calling on-site, which is supporting clients on their site. So it really does depend on where they're working. Within our packing group, we have a huge variation of work. So a job you mentioned, the 300,000 odd jobs earlier that we do on an annual basis, a job might start in the AM and be completed by midday, and then they'll be on something else. We do have a few jobs that do last for a number of weeks, so that provides a bit of assurance and familiarity for people when they come into work as well. So there's a lot of flexibility. The only thing that is constant is the friends that they've got around them.
Good to hear. Has anything surprised you, Nick, about what the team is capable of achieving?
Yeah, a lot, actually. There's a lot of preconceived notions about people with disability, particularly intellectual disability, and what they're capable of achieving. Our general team outperforms what we expect of them, and they do that with a genuine interest in the success of Waverley. Their success is our success, is the way that they view it. We've had a number of instances recently where people have been given opportunities to grow and have actually taken that opportunity in very surprising ways. They appear where you don't expect them to appear. They do public performances where you've never seen them in that role before. So it really does continually surprise us where we can go with our teams.
So how then does a certified quality assured operation stay nimble enough like you do to respond very quickly, sometimes within 72 hours?
Yeah, our internal operations are structured around function, which allows everybody to have a unique view on exactly what they do. Within that, we've then got pretty clear guidelines about the overlap between each one of those functions. And so if somebody is empowered to make decisions, so they're able to make decisions within their formulation, and they do that, right? And they can do that without fear of repercussions or second guessing themselves. And then we've got a whole series of mechanisms that move in to support them. For example, if we've got a new client, our client team will engage with that client and get the specifications from what they do, right, and what they need. That then moves out to involve our production team to determine whether it's the right side of work for our workmates, and also what our estimates are. So that's all a fairly well-oiled machine at this stage.
Can you shine a light, Nick, on, say, what a packing project might look like? I know they're all different, of all shapes and sizes, but how does that come to fruition?
Okay, 2 questions there. The first one, the different types of jobs that we might do. We do everything from over-labeling, where clients require to hit regulations or to hit internal manufacturing requirements. They require us to put labels on stuff. That's just about the simplest of activities we do. From there, we go right the way through to mail orders, which is used quite often by a number of our clients to reach their clients. And we do that from start to finish for them. And also gift packs, which is an assembly component that takes us from the raw materials into a finished product that then gets distributed to stores. So we do a lot of that for them.
And what about seasonal surges like Christmas, Black Friday, the really busy times? How do you do that when everyone else is maxed out?
Yeah, that's actually quite common for us. We do a lot of surge activities and a lot of seasonal activities as well. Uh, they seem to be a specialty, I would say. Largely, how we manage that comes down to good client relationships and planning, because
Hmm.
it's not so much the people that require the urgent turnaround, which we're capable of achieving, but it's everybody else around them. So we have really good relationships with our clients and now allow us to actually be out there to say, look, we've got this urgent thing in. We need to push out timelines. Is that going to be okay? And then from within there, we've got now 12 teams and soon to build more teams of workmates that can be spun up to achieve the times required by clients. So if you've got a huge order that requires an urgent turnaround, we can spin up a number of teams. And uh, part of our commercial positioning is the flex fast, and that's at the heart of that aspect.
I love that phrase. We flex fast. Is it true? Does it work?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
So we've had instances where clients has come to us and they're in a bit of a bind,
Mm.
and they require things to hit the shops, and they require it fast. So we flexed up an entire packing floor at I remember one at Hallam and another one both at Hallam and Notting Hill, where we put a whole series of our teams on it just to turn around and support that client.
And so they're your two operational sites. What's the capacity you're working with?
Well, Hallam and Notting Hill have been our traditional, and
Mhm.
just as of Monday last week, we've also added Bayswater to that as well. So we've
Fantastic.
now got 3 sites, and in terms of our capacity across 3 sites within our packing division, we've probably got about over 250 people. So it's a significant number of people that can be in groups of probably about 20 spun up to support our clients. And that means that as we are on a growth trajectory, every time we get a client in, we've got more and more capacity to put them into our planning process and support their needs.
And have you thought, Nick, I'm sure you have as the CEO, where you could scale the operation to?
Yeah, that's an interesting question because our industry is in quite a flux and within the disability industry. But one of the aspects we're having a look at very closely now is scalable operations, and one of our trajectories or one of our divisions is grounds maintenance. And
Mm.
grounds maintenance, we're looking at scaling that up fairly significantly. There's a love of the outdoors by a lot of our workmates, and we're matching that through client support and supporting those clients in turn by allowing crews to go out and achieve that.
And what would they actually do? What are they doing? What sort of maintenance? Give us a list of the
For
activities they're
grounds
doing.
maintenance?
Yeah.
Yeah, look, it's everything from supporting councils with their playgrounds, ensuring that they're clean, basic maintenance of them, graffiti removal, cleaning barbecues and the like, all the way down to lawn mowing, simple touch ups. We're looking to do light landscaping in the future, but also at the moment, litter picking and ensuring that the areas are clean and safe.
So many corporates, major corporates, Nick, have partnered with Waverley for many years, some for nearly a decade. I'm keen to know what keeps them coming back. Is it the impact story? Is it the commercial bottom line? Is it service delivery? Is it something else? Is it a combination of all of that? Why are your customers loyal to Waverley?
Yeah, it's a combination of all of those, and you can't pull one apart for any particular person because it is the combination of all of it. We do have very good relationships with a lot of our clients, and they do last for a very long time. And it's a bit of an interdependent relationship. We've supported them during their growth, and they've supported us through that growth as well. One of the things that we'd never be able to do is maintain those relationships if we weren't competitive and if we didn't offer a good product.
Yeah.
So that is the core commercial reason for why people come back. At the end of the day, people will look at commercials first and social impact second, and that's exactly what we are anyway. We are a business that happens to employ people with intellectual disability. And because of that, we do pitch ourselves and act and operate as a professional business. And that is what brings our customers to us, referrals and activities like that. And also that's what keeps them with us.
And so just following up from that, Nick, when you are pitching a new client or a prospective client, what is that conversation actually about?
Yeah, look, it's about us being a business that can support them and what they need. We pitch ourselves as a competitive commercial business with capacity and a focus on quality. The conversation that follows mirrors that on how we can help their business with their issues and needs. Somewhere down the track, we mentioned the social impact generated by that engagement, but it's certainly not the first line of conversation. It just is an add-on, which is a benefit for everybody as part of that relationship. But certainly all of our people within Waverley, all of our workmates want to be considered a worker first and foremost. And so as that aspect rolls out, we treat everybody the same pretty much in terms of expecting what they do, and they deliver. And we're very proud of them for what they do.
There is a quote on your website, Australia's leading brands choose us for a reason. So for a procurement manager, a procurement director listening to this, or an operations manager, why are they choosing Waverley, Nick?
Yeah, being aligned with Waverley is always a good thing. We have such a good story and make such a social impact there. So if you can achieve that while at the same time achieving your business needs, it just makes sense.
Mm. Do clients ever push back on pricing because they expect so-called social enterprises to be cheaper and to undercut the competition?
Look, in a way, our world works within the NDIS, and a lot of people have different views on the NDIS, and some people think that the NDIS operates to subsidise what we do. It doesn't. But having said that, I would say we're competitive on price anyway. Within the market, there's always a range of prices. Whenever you go in for a tender, there's the highs and there's the lows, and that depends on a number of factors internally and the profit margins and the like. Waverley's got a massive workforce that contributes to quick and accurate turnarounds for clients who really appreciate those efforts. So we pitch ourselves on a competitive basis, and if that comes with a bit of a social impact price, then so be it. I think it's well justified.
I agree. Beyond the hundreds of supported employees, you do train students with disabilities. You deliver thousands of hours of work. What is the ripple effect of that training, Nick? And what happens in the lives of your workmates beyond just the annual salary, the monthly paycheck?
Yeah, look, it's a really good question that goes to the heart of that incorporeal sort of aspect of what we do provide our people. Our goal internally is to address a lot of the isolation that people with disabilities in particular experience. And professional is the most obvious one that comes through having a job and everything that goes with that. But what follows that is a sense of purpose, a sense of confidence, a sense of self-worth, all these intangibles that we naturally derive from work and don't think about it. But you see it on a day-to-day basis where somebody, as I mentioned earlier, tries something new. And then the self-confidence, the enthusiasm, the excitement that follows, it's really palpable. So you get a sense of just how significant those jumps are for people here at Waverley. And in terms of our supported employees, we see that quite often where somebody makes a significant progression and they want to tell you about it. It's really quite heartwarming.
We know that social procurement is growing in Australia. Spending by businesses with social enterprises is on the rise. From your perspective on the ground, Nick, what is driving that shift?
Look, I think I think you can't get away from the fact that the government's got a strong view on this at the moment. And so that's supporting the overall zeitgeist, I guess, if you want to say, for social procurement at the moment. I also think that if you've got two opportunities in front of you, one has a pure commercial basis that just lines the pockets of somebody, and the other one provides support and addresses isolation of people with intellectual disability in our case, why wouldn't you choose the latter? Whether everything else is even, you would absolutely choose the latter. And whether it's us or any other social enterprise, the element that we're talking about is that that feel-good element where you're actually contributing back to a whole heap of people and improving their lives, while at the same time there's no material difference in your day-to-day. So it's just a no-brainer in my idea.
So Waverley's been at this for over 40 years. In your view, what has changed in how corporates view partnerships like working with Waverley? And a follow-up to that, what is still the hardest thing to get them to understand?
The change has been, and it's progressive, and it's not a entire social change. But for the clients that we work with, the change has been getting them to view us not so much as a charity.
Mm-hmm.
We've successfully got them to view us as a business. So along the way, if you've got no exposure or have had no exposure to people with intellectual disability and or exposure to a supported employer, you do come up with a whole series of very tired but stereotyped assumptions of what we are and where we are. What that doesn't, where that's unfair to everybody is that we've worked very, very hard, both as an industry, but particularly within Waverley, to address that. And so where a lot of our clients see benefit in working with Waverley comes from the fact that they've actually pierced that stereotype. They've gone through, they've seen the benefits of what working with a supported employer is, and they actually come back for more. So in terms of the overall industry, I think one of the hardest things we have to do, and the first hurdle in what we have to do is actually to get across what we are as a business without those instant assumptions for the conversations from a client perspective. And on that, our number one sales tool, our number one connection tool with our clients is actually a site visit to actually show them what we do and how we do it. So we find that when people come through and they do a walkthrough of any one of our sites, it's all the same. Our sites offer a clear view of the way Waverley can support them in what they do.
What are some of the reactions, Nick, when prospective clients go through the factories and the warehouses? I imagine I had no idea how big you were. I had no idea this operation was this sophisticated. It worked like this.
Oh, look, exactly that, right? For example, we're here at our Notting Hill facility at the moment, and I get a number of people that say, I've driven past your signage for 20 years along Ferntree Gully, and I've never thought to explore what you are. Now that I've explored, now that I've come in and seen what you go, I am amazed. And that's been said to me on a number of occasions. I love taking people through site visits here. It gives me the opportunity to be up and down on the floor and say hi to everybody that's there, but also to see the wonder in the client's face when they walk through and all of a sudden there's another area and there's more people bustling away getting a client order satisfied. It's a really wonderful thing.
So just to follow up on that, if someone is listening to this and has never considered social procurement before, perhaps they're in supply chain, procurement, operations, what would you want them to know about what working with Waverley actually looks like?
Working with Waverley looks like a professional organisation. It just comes with additional benefits that you won't get anywhere else. our clients are more than welcome to come into our organisation and check on progress and engage. And in fact, a number of them do. A number of them send through heaps and heaps of volunteers for support days for within their organisations. And it is that heartwarming, reaffirming faith aspect in humanity that they get out of the day. I sell it to them on the basis of, you're going to see the disability for about 15 minutes and then you're just going to see people for the rest of the day. And you're going to come away from it with your faith reaffirmed, with a great day of fun, and with a whole heap of memories from the people you interacted with on that day. And you'll see just the focus that they have on their work, and you'll see the focus that they have on making sure that everything is right and getting through the day and supporting their friends.
Well, it's a remarkable business. Have you thought about the vision for the next 3 to 5 years? Is it more services, new services, additional sites, bigger scale? What's on the agenda, Nick?
As ambitious as I am, we've just added Bayswater to our portfolio in the last couple of weeks. So I'm probably going to tap out on sites for a little while.
Okay, very good.
Having said that, we've got a really strong internal focus at the moment on upskilling, development, and experience. So that's going to occupy a good chunk of our excitement and our resource for the next few years. So it's about making our business better, but also making the environment better internally. We're priding ourselves on our relationship with our workmates, right? But that doesn't mean that we can't do more. And in fact, we've got a really strong focus on doing more, on building them up, on upskilling, on ensuring that they've got an amazing day. We want them to go home at the end of every day and say, I had an amazing day today, and just express that joy to everybody around them.
And a final question to you, Nick. If you could change one thing about how Australia approaches disability employment or social enterprise more broadly, what would that be?
I risk getting on a bit of a soapbox here, but I'll do the
Please,
more the general sort of response to that one. Disability employment in Australia is in a bit of it's on a path, right? And I think that there's a whole heap of people with a really, really good intentions within our industry that are striving to make it better. And I think that's an absolute. Everybody within our industry wants it to be better. I think supported employment like us is a very, very functional and very, very valid way that people with disabilities, and like I said, particularly intellectual disabilities or even ASD, can get a job and secure a job and hold a job and maintain their job for however long. We've got people that have maintained their job with Waverley since Waverley opened its doors, right? And they're amazing people and they love it here and they keep coming back for many, many reasons. Supported employment needs to be viewed as a really viable way of getting people into jobs and giving them that purpose, that self-worth and that confidence that a job can offer them.
Nick Williamson, CEO of Waverley Social Enterprises, thank you so much for your time today and all the very best for Waverley in the years ahead. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your time. It's been really enjoyable.